Hello, hello, hello.
ठीक होगा। फिर आज मेरा आखिरी दिन है, तो फिर मैं ध्यान से पढ़ती हूँ। अस्सलाम गुड मॉर्निंग टू यू ऑल। ठीक हो गया। Assalamu alaikum and good morning to you all. Excellencies, distinguished guests, respected scholars and colleagues. On behalf of the Institute of Regional Studies, Islamabad, it is my honor and utmost privilege to welcome you to today's policy dialogue on Pakistan's role in building regional peace, Iran's strategic posture, regional alignments, and pathways to stability. Few conversations are more timely than this one. The regional security landscape has shifted dramatically. Iran's strategic posture, the realignment of regional powers, and Pakistan's emerging role as a credible peace facilitator are no longer peripheral policy questions. They are at the very center of how stability in our region will be defined in the years to come. Let us begin our today's session with a recitation from the Holy Quran. Of regional powers and Pakistan.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Jazakallah. Today, we are privileged to have with us distinguished voices from diplomacy, media, and policy research who will help us navigate these questions with the depth and clarity they deserve. It is my great honor to invite the President of the Institute of Regional Studies, Ambassador Johar Salim, to deliver the welcome address. Ambassador Salim's distinguished career across 4 decades of Pakistan's foreign services, including his tenure as Foreign Secretary, makes him uniquely placed to frame today's conversation. We are grateful for his leadership in convening this important dialogue. Ambassador, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Excellency, Ambassador Reza Amiri Mugaddam, Ambassador Asif Zorani, distinguished panelists, Excellencies, our very many senior colleagues here, dear scholars, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a privilege to have with us Ambassador of brotherly country of Iran with us today. This is not the first time he's been here. Every time that he visits, he brings a unique perspective and adds great value to our discussions. Today we meet to discuss Pakistan's role in building peace in the region, Iran's strategic posture, regional alignments, and pathways to stability. And of course, this illustrious panel that we have will be discussing this very important subject at length with a keynote address by Ambassador Muqaddam and insights by all other panelists, including Ambassador Durrani, who's been amongst a lot of other assignments, has been ambassador to Iran as well. For more than 4 decades, the Institute of Regional Studies has been uniquely placed as the institute which focuses on promoting knowledge and building linkages within this region and regions around this. And we are perhaps the only one, or one of the very few, if there's any other think tank, which has a specialized program on Iran, as we have for our other neighbors. Ladies and gentlemen, today, the international relations system, or the international dispensation, is witnessing grave challenges and profound geopolitical change. We see transformations that are reshaping, in many ways, the global order. In particular, the recent developments in West Asia, they remind us that while conflicts can emerge, the peace which is paramount can only be brought about by respecting international laws and through dialogue. If we move away from a rules-based international order, then we will move into chaos, something that the world cannot afford when our planet is already facing some existential challenges. Challenges related to climate change, challenges of underdevelopment, challenges brought about by the wave of populism around the world. Now, in this context, Pakistan's position and Pakistan's role is very clear. We believe in a rules-based international order. We believe in international law. And that is why, wherever there has been an aggression, Pakistan has been one of the first and foremost to state categorically, without mincing words, unequivocally, that the sovereignty and territorial integrity in terms of principles of international law are paramount. And that was our position last year when there was an attack on Iran, This was our position this year as well. Categoric. There was no ambiguity in that. And I tell you that countries respect that position. I mean, we have many others in our neighborhood in particular who were totally ambivalent. They had no position. They were trying to hide behind some lofty words without taking a position. But that does not build trust. That does not enhance mutual respect. And that is why, when it came to peacemaking, Pakistan was uniquely placed. We are not the biggest country in the region. We are not a superpower. We are not a great power. But it is Pakistan that at a very critical time, when the world needed to build peace, when there were threats of destroying a civilization, and they were not just threats, when the conflict had reached a point where the next level could have been devastating, not just for the parties involved, not just for the region, but for the entire world. The global economy was already suffering. The price of oil had touched 126. The price of gas has risen tremendously. Perhaps even more importantly, 1/3 of the world's fertilizers had been blocked because of the war. A lot of other raw materials coming from that region, from the Gulf, that supply had been disrupted. Now, if this had continued, and if the war had climbed the next ladder of escalation, irreparable damage would have been caused. The world was facing not just a global recession, but a depression. A depression you have when you have a negative growth of 10%. And a depression can be devastating. You know, the last time the world had a depression was in the 1930s. And that created Nazism and fascism. It was in that critical period where many countries did not want to take a risk because they felt that, you know, its situation is so formidable that the chances of success are slim and the chances of failure paramount. With Pakistan, we did not think of sort of, you know, in terms of success or failure or credit or discredit. We thought of only one thing. How could we contribute? What could we contribute? And then when Pakistan got engaged in the process, trying to bring the two sides to the negotiating table, there were a lot of setbacks. It was not easy. It was very, very challenging because there was deep mistrust between the two sides. Historical mistrust spanning over decades and decades. They were in a state of war. So much turmoil had taken place, not just in the region, but inside Iran as well. And on both sides, there were the pragmatists, but there were also, you know, those who thought sort of, you know, could be termed hardliners. But Pakistan persevered. Even in the face of the most daunting challenges, Pakistan persevered. And Pakistan brought the two sides to the negotiating table in Islamabad. That was a historic moment. And after that, when there was again a stalemate, it seemed that the entire process would break down. We stayed engaged. We stayed involved. Pakistan's leadership, the Prime Minister, and the Field Marshal in particular tirelessly continue to work. And this has been something that was shared. I mean, the world knows that, it's an open secret now. But Ambassador shared with me as well that at any time in the night, whenever, as the vital intermediary, he needed to access the Field Marshal, he would be up. So it was that tireless work spanning over weeks and months. And it was the trust that Iran has reposed in Pakistan, and also the trust and respect that the US, that Pakistan was able to build in the US. And with the help of many other countries, Qatar was there, Turkey was there, China, a very important player. They do not believe in overt diplomacy. Sometimes they do not believe in diplomacy in public view, but very effective diplomacy. So we are immensely humbled and proud at the same time that Pakistan's endeavors have been able to translate into something substantive. There's a framework of understanding now in the shape of an MOU. There's a roadmap ahead. And the process, despite all the challenges, despite the spoilers which are there, like Israel, while I believed, and I've been saying it in my comments to the media as well, I believe that it is, and it was, and it will remain in the best interest of Iran and the US to go through with this process and to build peace. It would be a win-win situation. There should be no doubt about that. But I also believe that this is not how Israel sees it. From their perspective, it's not a win-win situation. They would have rather seen the war being dragged. They would have rather seen more destruction, not just in Iran, but in the Gulf countries as well. Because for them, there would be no better sight than seeing Muslim countries getting damaged. So that challenge is there. There's the spoiler, the big spoiler, Israel. And of course, we know how much influence they have in the world, that their lobbies in the media, in the world of finance, intelligentsia, academia, politics. And also the fact that in both countries, Iran and the US, they are detractors. You know, there are those who think that, okay, this is probably not the right way. But I believe that peace will win, inshallah. There will be a lot more hiccups. There might be a lot many challenges, but it would be in the interest of not just Iran and the US, but in the interest of this region and the entire world, this process succeeds and culminates into a long-term, into a durable peace. Now, within this broader sort of perspective, today we'll also try to understand Iran's strategic viewpoint. And I believe it's both timely and essential if you have to understand how this process would unfold in the coming days and months. Iran occupies a very important position in the strategic landscape of West Asia, and in many ways, I would say the world. Its geography, its security outlook, its regional presence, it continues to shape the dynamics within this region, the regions around it, and in many ways the world. So understanding Iran's strategic perspective is essential for assessing regional security developments and identifying opportunities for dialogue, for confidence building, and for building cooperative approaches for lasting stability. I mean, if I say, it would be repeating the obvious, but the fact remains that the cordial relations, the fraternal ties between Pakistan and Iran, they cannot be just traced back to 50, 60, 70 years or the creation of Pakistan. They go back centuries. We share intertwined histories. We share cultural similarities. We share shared faiths, of course. Linguistically, like Urdu and Persian, they're so close. So many traditions, so many customs. Pakistan's genealogy has a huge imprint of Persia. And there, on both sides, there's a great sentiment of goodwill and cordiality. And this is very evident in the top-level exchanges that we've had, not just in the past, but in the recent years as well. President Pezeshkian has been to Pakistan twice. Before that, President Raisi was there. And this has been the norm between the two countries. So that relationship, we need to translate this relationship as a factor of stability to bring about lasting peace, stability, and connectivity in this region and beyond. For instance, there's a lot of discussion about the Gulf countries' security framework post this conflict. Many analysts believe that there will be a sea change there. That region has been almost entirely dependent on a defense architecture they built with the US, and before that, it was with the UK. Some analysts believe that that whole architecture would perhaps now witness a paradigm shift. Whether that happens or not, what I believe is that post-conflict, there will be a multi-layered security framework in the Gulf. And as many analysts have forecasted, that countries such as Pakistan, countries such as Turkey, countries that have a great deal of trust there, mutual respect there, they can play a role in that. And at the same time, a rapprochement would be very critical. A rapprochement and a process of building cooperative and cordial relations amongst Iran and the Gulf countries. China had played a critical role in bringing about a rapprochement between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Pakistan and other countries such as China and Turkey can play a role in bringing about such cooperative framework amongst Iran and the Gulf countries, because that is what the region would need. That is what the world would need. The world cannot afford these type of conflicts, because these conflicts do not just disrupt the supply on the supply side, but also on the demand side. They can massively influence the world economy, and not just world economy, world's peace, world stability, world security. Because in this very region, they're not just middle powers, they're nuclear powers as well. And some of those nuclear powers, they have not played a very benign role in promoting regional stability in the past, unfortunately, such as India. So now with this preamble, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very much looking forward to a very informed discussion, to a very insightful debate today with all our very worthy speakers, spearheaded by our keynote speaker, Ambassador Muqaddam. And like you all, I'm very keen to benefit from this great insight and illumination. I thank you all for being part of this discourse, and we all look forward to a very, very beneficial and a very productive discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Salim, for those thoughtful opening remarks and for setting the intellectual tone for our dialogue today. First speaker is Ambassador Asif Ali Khan Durrani, whose distinguished diplomatic career includes service as Pakistan's ambassador to the Islamic Republic of Iran. His extensive diplomatic experience and deep understanding of Pakistan-Iran relations and regional affairs bring an important policy perspective to today's discussion. Ambassador Durrani, we warmly welcome your remarks, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellency Ambassador Johar Salim, Excellency Ambassador Muqaddam, my senior colleague, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to participate in today's event on a subject that has assumed extraordinary significance in the aftermath of the recent conflict involving Iran, the United States, and Israel. As we all know, West Asia stands today at a strategic inflection point. The immediate military confrontation may have subsided, but the larger geopolitical questions remain unanswered. The issue before us is no longer simply the outcome of a war. Rather, it is whether the conflict has accelerated the emergence of a new regional order, or what responsibilities regional and extra-regional actors bear in shaping a more stable future. History reminds us that wars often alter military balances, but it is the space that follows which determines the course of nations. The decisions taken today by regional leaders and the international community will influence the security architecture of West Asia for decades to come. Ladies and gentlemen, the recent conflict has also prompted a reassessment of long-held assumptions regarding regional security. For decades, the United States was regarded as the principal external guarantor of stability in the Gulf and the wider region. That security framework undoubtedly contributed to protecting maritime commerce and reassuring regional partners. However, recent events have also demonstrated that regional security guarantees alone cannot eliminate regional insecurity. Lasting instability cannot be imported. It must ultimately be built by the countries of the region themselves. The conflict equally reaffirmed an enduring geopolitical reality. Geography remains one of the greatest strategic assets available to states. Iran's position astride the Strait of Hormuz once again reminded the world of the vulnerability of global energy markets. Even the prospect of disruption along this narrow maritime corridor generated anxiety across international financial markets, affected oil prices, and highlighted the continuing interdependence between regional security and the global economy. Ladies and gentlemen, Another important lesson concerns national resilience. Under conditions of sustained military and political pressure, Iran demonstrated considerable institutional continuity. Whatever one's political assessment of the Islamic Republic, the ability of its leadership to preserve state cohesion during a period of exceptional external pressure deserves careful study. Strategic resilience is measured not only by military capability, but also by political cohesion, public confidence, and institutional endurance. The conflict has inevitably influenced regional alignments. The Gulf states increasingly pursue policies based on strategic diversification rather than exclusive dependence upon any single external power. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar continue to strengthen relations with the United States while simultaneously expanding cooperation with China, improving dialogue with Iran, and broadening economic partnership across Asia. Turkey continues to pursue strategic autonomy, while China has consolidated its role as an important diplomatic and economic stakeholder. Russia, despite its preoccupation with Europe, remains an influential actor in regional security calculations. Ladies and gentlemen, these developments point towards an increasingly multipolar West Asia in which regional powers enjoy greater strategic agency than at any time during the post-Cold War period. The principal challenge now is to ensure that this transition strengthens regional stability rather than intensifies strategic competition. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is in this context that Pakistan's role deserves careful consideration. Pakistan enjoys cordial relations with Iran, maintains deep strategic partnership with the Gulf Cooperation Council states, has an enduring strategic partnership with China, close relations with Turkey, constructive engagements with the United States, and shares both history and geography with Afghanistan. Few countries possess such a diverse network of relationships across competing geopolitical spaces. This unique diplomatic position does not confer privilege alone. It also creates responsibility. Pakistan should avoid becoming part of regional rivalries. Instead, it should continue to serve as a bridge between competing actors, encouraging dialogue where mistrust prevails and cooperation where interests converge. Its diplomacy should remain guided by principles rather than blocks, by engagement rather than confrontation. Pakistan's recent diplomatic initiatives have demonstrated that constructive engagement, quiet diplomacy, and confidence-building measures can contribute positively to regional peace. These experiences should encourage Islamabad to continue supporting dialogue among regional actors while avoiding entanglement in confrontational geopolitical competition. Ladies and gentlemen, looking ahead, I believe that the region should begin serious discussion on a new security architecture for West Asia. Such a framework cannot simply replicate previous arrangements. It must reflect contemporary geopolitical realities and legitimate security interests of all regional stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, a durable regional security framework may rest upon 6 broad principles. First, Respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all states. Second, non-interference in each other's internal affairs. Third, institutionalized dialogue among regional governments to reduce miscalculation and prevent escalation. Fourth, collective responsibility for maritime security and the uninterrupted flow of international commerce through strategic waterways. Fifth, expanded regional economic integration through trade, energy cooperation, connectivity projects, and infrastructure development. Finally, strengthen cooperation against terrorism, violent extremism, and transnational organized crimes, which continue to threaten every country in the region, irrespective of political differences. None of these objectives can be achieved overnight, nor can they be imposed by external actors. Durable security arrangements emerge when regional states recognize that cooperation ultimately serves their national interests better than perpetual confrontation. Ladies and gentlemen, the international community also has an important role to play. External powers should encourage dialogue rather than deepen regional polarization. Sustainable peace requires support for diplomacy, economic development, and institution building rather than policies that reinforce zero-sum strategic competition. West Asia possesses extraordinary human capital, immense natural resources, rich civilizational heritage, and significant economic potential. These assets should become the foundations of regional cooperation rather than the causes of recurring conflicts. Allow me to conclude with a broader reflection. Throughout history, wars have often produced opportunities for statesmen to reshape regional orders. Thank you. The true measures of leadership lies not in the conduct of war, but in the wisdom with which peace is constructed afterwards. Today, West Asia stands before precisely such a historic opportunity. The region can either remain trapped in cycles of rivalry and confrontation, or it can gradually move towards a cooperative security framework based upon mutual respect, shared prosperity, and inclusive dialogue. Pakistan, because of its geography, its diplomatic experience, and its balanced relationships across the region, can make a constructive contribution to this endeavor. Its greatest strength lies not in projecting power, but in facilitating understanding among partners whose futures remain closely intertwined. Permit me to conclude with the timeless words of Sadi Shirazi, whose wisdom remains as relevant today as it was centuries ago. Bani Adam azai bigaran, ki dar afrinish yak goharan. The children of Adam are members of one another, having been created from the same essence. If this principle can guide relations among states as well as among people, then the pathway to regional peace will become considerably clearer. I thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Durrani. That first-hand diplomatic perspective has added a dimension to this conversation that no secondary analysis can provide. Our next speaker is a distinguished diplomat who brings a unique and accomplished perspective to today's dialogue. Ms. Zohre Shah Beg serves as first counselor at the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Pakistan. one of the senior diplomatic officers responsible for managing and deepening the bilateral relationship between our two neighboring countries. It is a pleasure to welcome her voice to this dialogue. Miss, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. His Excellency Mr. Johar Salim, Honorable President of IRS in Islamabad, distinguished guests, Excellencies, esteemed scholars, professors, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to participate in this distinguished academic and strategic gathering alongside eminent scholars and experts from our two friendly and brotherly nations, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the government and the people of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan for their construction, responsible, and valuable role in facilitating and mediating dialogue, reducing tensions, and promoting peace, stability, and regional cooperation. The Islamic Republic of Iran has always welcomed every sincere initiative aimed at strengthening regional security, sustainable development, stability, and cooperation. We firmly believe that dialogue, mutual understanding, and constructive engagement remain the most effective means of the addressing of our common regional challenges. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to the Institute of Regional Studies for organizing this valuable conference and to the distinguished speakers whose insightful contribution have provided an excellent opportunity for academic, strategic, and professional exchange of views. I firmly believe that the continuation of such dialogue will contribute to the fostering deeper mutual understanding, expanding academic and research cooperation, and strengthening ties among scholars and research institutes in our two countries. Today, we gather at a time when the memory of martyr leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran remains alive in the hearts and minds of the Iranian people, as well as many people across the Islamic world. Through his vision, leadership, and unwavering position, he played a significant role in shaping contemporary developments in the Muslim world and secure a lasting place in modern history. The solemn commemoration and mourning ceremonies to be held on Friday, 3rd July 2026, reflect the profound respect and appreciation of the Iranian nation and his admirer in many countries, demonstrating that his ideas and aspirations have transcended geographical boundaries. The military leaders consistently emphasize the importance of the unity of the Muslim Ummah, closer cooperation among Islamic countries, and the strengthening of relations between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. He regarded Pakistan as an influential and indispensable country in the Islamic world and believed that closer cooperation between our two nations could make a meaningful contribution to regional peace, stability, and prosperity. His strategic vision continues to provide an important foundation for expanding bilateral relations and promoting greater Islamic solidarity. During these difficult days, the people of Pakistan expressed their solidarity with the people of Iran through heartfelt messages of sympathy, commemorative gathering, and demonstration of support. This sincere gesture once again highlighted the deep historical, cultural, and religious bonds that unite our two brotherly nations, bonds that continue a valuable asset for the future of our bilateral relationship. Today, more than ever before, it is our shared responsibility to preserve this precious legacy, strengthen unity, expand dialogue, and deepen practical cooperation in pursuit of peace, security, development, and prosperity throughout the Islamic world. In conclusion, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Islamic Republic to Pakistan, Mr. Reza Amiri Muqaddam, who, despite his demanding schedule and numerous responsibilities, honored us with his presence today, underscoring the importance of academic engagement and diplomatic dialogue. His participation reflects the Islamic Republic of Iran's continued commitment to constructive dialogue, presenting his perspective, strengthening bilateral cooperation, and further deepening the long-standing friendship between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. I sincerely hope that through wisdom, mutual respect, constructive engagement, and closer cooperation, we will together build a future characterized by a lasting peace, stability, sustainable development, and shared prosperity for the peoples of our region. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Ms. Zohre. Your remarks have brought an important multilateral and human dimension. We are grateful for that perspective. In an era where narrative and strategic signaling are themselves instruments of statecraft, the media perspective is not peripheral, it is central. Our next speaker brings the lens of regional media to this dialogue. Mr. Abu Bakr Yunus Matar is Bureau Chief of Pakistan Al Mayadeen TV in Islamabad. Mr. Matar has closely followed political and strategic developments from across the Middle East and brings valuable insights from a regional media perspective. Mr. Matar, may I respectfully invite you to address the audience, please?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Media have played a very important role in the upcoming situation, and it have started, taking this critical role since this Gaza, the Israeli war in Gaza have started. And then we have seen how media, especially international media, try to divert the attention from the crime that's happening in Gaza to other situations. In this, media, role, which is very vital in this time, we have not yet been able to come to and focus on the main points. So Iran have done what most of the other Muslim countries should have done, and that is saving the civilians of Palestine, facing the aggression of the Israelis, stopping the aggression, asking the whole world to come and stop what's happening in Palestine. And which is very important, that the martyrs of Iran, the shuhada of Iran, have not been only on the soldier side, it have been also on the head of Iran, which means that the whole country have taken a very strong decision, a very strong role, and that was to stop the aggression of the Israelis and to have, a limit for the Israelis' aggressions. What we are seeing now, the Americans, the Israelis, the aggression, they're still doing it still in Gaza and still doing it in Lebanon. And we are seeing how Iranians are still holding it very strong that no negotiations will continue, no ceasefire will continue unless and until the Lebanese will also, the war in Lebanon should stop. And also the aggression on Gaza should stop. So we should always understand that we in media now have also to play this role, especially here in Pakistan. Pakistan is taking a very important role in mediating. Yes, mediating means to end the war, but not to end the dignity of the people, not to forget the civilians, the victims, those have killed. We have to come with a strategy, we have to come with a plan where media especially should keep highlighting, should keep the people aware of what is the main problem of the current history. The main problem is the Israeli illegal occupation of Palestine, the Israeli aggression, the Israeli, holding the whole country. They are just imagine a people of a whole country like Gaza and Palestine still under siege, still under occupation since more than 70 years. And that is why, that is only because the international law is still not recognizing Israel as an occupation force. we in media, especially in Islamic countries, should always play this role that yes, there is an occupation, and this occupation should be always be highlighted, and all the sacrifices that is given, that is still continuous giving by the different countries, by Iran, by Yemen, by Palestine. That is not a struggle, not something that's only related to Iran, not only related to Palestine, not only related to Yemen. That is related to the humanity. That is related to the people's right to become free, people's right to have even those criminals, the Israeli criminals, in the light of the law, they should be taken accountable. Yet we don't have any accountability to hold those criminals, responsible for their crimes. So yes, media still in this, unfortunately, international media and also the local media, not really taking care of the main situation, or the main reason of what we are facing. The main reason actually still is the occupation of Palestine. The main reason is having an occupation forces on the land of our own. So being a Palestinian, being also a media person, we always see that the main problem still is there is no focal, no strategic actually media working on this, on aligning the people, on enlightening them, on making them aware that the main problem is not having the Hormuz closed. The main problem is not having Iranian nuclear program. No, this is not. It was never the problem. The main problem is having the occupation, having the Israeli occupation on the land of Palestine, and not only in the land of Palestine, controlling the holy places of Palestine, controlling the holy place of the Muslims, and killing the people of Palestine with no accountability at all. I have a short, I don't want to make it long, yes, but I want really, I request the media to come with a new strategy, to come with a new, a working strategy in order to really focus on the main problems of our current situation. Not only to go on the economically side, not only to go on the Hormuz. Yes, it is some tactics. Of course, we have to play our own role. We have to play our own tactics, but still, that is not the only problem. The main problem we are facing now still is the occupation of Palestine and the aggression of Israelis in different countries, and not putting a limitation of the Israelis who is actually still doing their aggression in different parts of the countries. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Matar. That perspective from the media and information environment is a valuable complement to the diplomatic analysis we have already heard. We now come to the centerpiece of today's dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to welcome our keynote speaker, His Excellency Dr. Raza Amiri Muqaddam, Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran to Pakistan. Your Excellency brings to this podium the most authoritative voice on the questions we are here to examine: Iran's strategic posture, its regional alignments, and its vision for stability in the broader neighborhood. There is no more filling voice to address Pakistan's role in building regional peace than a distinguished representative of the Islamic Republic, whose country shares with Pakistan a border, a history, and a deeply intertwined strategic future. We are deeply honored by Your Excellency's presence and look forward to your address. The floor is yours, sir.
ابی من پاراگراف رو ترجمه کنم. یک کمی هم با صدای بلند. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم و به نستعین انه خیر ناصر و معین. ابتداعا تشکر میکنم از برگزاری این جلسه توسط مؤسسه محترم IRS و به ویژه جناب سفیر سلیم جوهر که همواره با برگزاری این گونه جلسات به پویایی مسائل منطقه‌ای توجه میکنن و الحمدلله برنامه‌های ایشون در گسترش صلح و امنیت بین‌المللی مؤثر بوده و در توسعه روابط دو کشور هم تاثیرگذار بوده.
First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to the esteemed Institute of Regional Studies and particularly to His Excellency Ambassador Salim Johar because for arranging of this gathering and always the Excellency arrange the programs which has focus on the dynamics of the regional peace and security, and His Excellency's various programs always help out also in making and establishment of peace and security, and also promotion of ties between both the countries.
از حضور همه شما محققین و اندیشمندان گرامی به ویژه جناب سفیر آصف دورانی که تشریف آوردن هم من صمیمانه تشکر میکنم.
I also extend my gratitude for the presence of all the scholars and particularly to Excellency Ambassador Asif Durrani.
از دولت و ملت پاکستان که در یک سال گذشته شانه به شانه جمهوری اسلامی ایران ایستادن و با تلاش خودشون مقدمات یک انشالله صلح فراگیر منطقه‌ای رو به وجود آوردن هم من صمیمانه تشکر میکنم.
I also cordially extend my gratitude to the government and the people of Pakistan who during 2 years, last years, are making their support and also making the endeavors for providing broader security in the region.
دو کشور همواره روابط خیلی خوبی داشتند ولی در سالهای اخیر این روابط نسبت به گذشته بسیار پیشرفته تر و متمایزتر شده است و من فکر میکنم اگر فردا در قاب تلویزیون ها نگاه کنید عمق روابط ایران و پاکستان را در مراسم تشییع و وداع با امام شهید ما که ناجوانمردانه توسط رژیم صهیونیستی و آمریکا به شهادت رسید و جهان اسلام را عزادار کرد خواهید دید.
The two countries have always enjoyed a cordial relationship, but during the 2 years and the past few years, we have witnessed utmost promotion and also a development in the ties and closeness in the ties of both the countries very effectively. And if you want to know the depth of the relationship at the people's level, you can witness the funeral ceremony which is going to be held to commemorate our martyred leader Hazrat Ayatollah Khamenei, who was covertly martyred by the Zionist regime and the Americans, and all of us are mourning his martyrdom.
موضوعی که تعیین کرده مؤسسه که من پیرامون آن نکاتی را عرض کنم یکی ثبات هست، چگونه منطقه ما به ثبات برگرده و چگونه ما توانستیم در این جنگ نابرابر بازدارندگی ایجاد کنیم و دشمن رو پشیمان کنیم و او را وادار کنیم که تن به واقعیت بده که امروز جهان نه تنها در جنگ بین ایران و آمریکا و رژیم صهیونیستی بلکه در چند جای دیگر هم نشان داد که قدرت‌های کوچکتر در عمل نسبت به قدرت‌های بزرگتر موفق‌تر عمل کردند.
My today's subject related to the stability and how we can have stability, and the other thing is that how we were able to create a deterrence in this unequal war, where we have to also come to know the reality that in today's world, it's not limited to the conflict of Iran, United States, and the Zionist regime, but in our other parts of the world, we have witnessed that the small powers, how they have overcome to the big powers.
موقعی از ثبات حرف میزنیم و درخواست میشه که راجع به ثبات بحث کنیم، خود به خود این را به ما میگه که یه بی‌ثباتی هست که ما به دنبال ایجاد ثبات هستیم. من تلاش میکنم در این جلسه یک مقداری راجع به این بی‌ثباتی که در منطقه ما به ویژه در حوزه خاورمیانه یا غرب آسیا به وجود آمده رو من توضیح بدم.
When we talk about the instability, automatically it shows that there is some instability, and particularly in this region. And I will try to make my efforts to explain that how this instability has become in the region of Middle East or the West Asia.
علت اصلی بی‌ثباتی در منطقه غرب آسیا به نتیجه دو جنگ جهانی اول و دوم به وجود آمد که بانی و به وجود آورنده آن کشورهای غربی بودند.
The main cause of instability in the West Asia actually is the result of the two world wars, and the main actually the collaborators were the Western countries.
نتیجه جنگ جهانی اول و دوم ایجاد یک جریانی بود که به اسم صهیونیسم بین الملل و به اسم رژیم صهیونیستی در منطقه ما در جنگ جهانی اول پایه‌های اون ریختند و در جنگ جهانی دوم اون رو به وجود آوردند.
And the main source of instability in our region was the Zionist actually regime. Its the basic pillars actually were conceived during the First World War, and practically it was created after the World War II.
کشوری به نام فلسطین را اشغال کردند
They occupied a country by name of Palestine,
و کسانی که برای آزادی سرزمینشون دست به مبارزه دادن اونا رو تروریست نامیدند و اونی که اشغال کرده بود و تجاوز کرده بود و خاک کشوری را اشغال کرده بود رو به عنوان صاحب حق جلوه می‌خواستند بدند.
and those who were struggling to liberate their countries, they were named as terrorists, and who they have occupied their territories, and they have made aggression. They were showing that they have the right to occupy that.
غرب تلاش کرد طی 70-80 سال گذشته که از رژیم صهیونیستی یک نظام مقبول بین المللی و از فلسطینی ها یک گروه های تروریستی جا بندازه.
The Western world during 70 to 80 years has tried to depict the Zionist regime as a reasonable system, whereas they have always been depicting Palestinians as terrorists.
ولی از 7 اکتبر تا به امروز برای همه دنیا ثابت شد که تروریست واقعی رژیم صهیونیستی و آمریکاست.
But since October 7, it has been proved to whole the world that the real terrorist and the real terrorist regime is the Zionist regime.
بیش از 70,000 فلسطینی شهید شدند.
More than 70,000 Palestinians have been murdered,
صدها هزار فلسطینی یا مفقودن یا از زندگی ساقط شدند.
and hundreds and thousands of Palestinians, they are missing or they have lost their
و امروز
lives.
و امروز خود غربی ها، بسیاری از دولت های غربی، اکثر مردم در غرب، در آمریکا و اروپا اعتراف دارند که رژیم صهیونیستی تروریستی است و مردم مظلوم فلسطین از سرزمینشون دفاع می‌کردند.
Now there is the confession and realization even in the Westerns and in the Western world, and most of the people of the West, including United States, they have the realization that the Palestinian peoples, they are the oppressed nation, and they are defending their territories, and the real terrorists are the Zionist regime.
در نزد ما مسلمانان اینی که خداوند جای حق نشسته و همیشه نمیذاره که حق در پوشش بمونه و آشکار میکنه و در دید ظاهر ملت ها هم عدالت یک واژه بسیار پسندیده است. بی‌عدالتی رو تمام دنیا با همه وجودشون حس کردن و این برچسبی که 70-80 سال غرب تلاش کرد که اینو تروریست جا بندازه، امروز به یک کسی که داره از سرزمین خودش، از حیثیت خودش داره دفاع میکنه میپذیرن و اون کسی رو که میخواستن مشروع جلوش دادن به عنوان تروریست در همه جهان به رسمیت شناخته شد.
We as a Muslims believe that the right path could not be hidden for a long, so that's why after 70 to 80 years, when there was the efforts that they depict to the Palestinians people as the terrorists, but now the world has come to know that they are the liberators of their territories, and they are defending their legitimate rights. But the regime which they were depicting as the legitimate one, they are the real terrorists.
در کنار اون تلاش میکردن جمهوری اسلامی ایران رو که تنها حامی مردم فلسطین به صورت عملی بود. همه مسلمان ها از این رنج مردم فلسطین به خودشون میپیچیدن. در طی 2 سال گذشته، من در 3 سال گذشته در پاکستان بودم، مردم پاکستان بی‌نظیرترین حمایت را از مردم غزه به وجود آوردن و انجام دادن. اما واقعا به صورت عملی اون که وارد کمک به فلسطینی‌ها شد جمهوری اسلامی ایران بود.
On the other hand, the only practical supporter of the Palestinians and in their struggle has been the Islamic Republic of Iran. Since 2 or 3 years back, I have witnessed the unprecedented support which has been extended by the people of Pakistan to the Palestinians. I have personally witnessed it, but practically that was the Islamic Republic of Iran which was supporting to the Palestinians practically.
دولت پاکستان مرتبا تجاوز به فلسطین رو محکوم کرد توی 2 سال.
Government of Pakistan has many times condemned the aggression against Palestinians.
تنها دولتی در کشورهای اسلامی، حالا ما که وسط معرکه بودیم، تنها کشور اسلامی که دولتش و احزابش با هم جلسه گذاشتن و مشترکاً این رژیم رو محکوم کردن پاکستان بود.
And Pakistan was the only country in the Islamic world where the government and all the political parties they come together and they jointly condemn the Israeli aggression against the Palestinians.
تنها کشوری که فرماندهان نظامیش که جلسه خودشون رو برگزار میکنن در بیانیه پایانیشون از فلسطین حمایت میکردن و تجاوز اسرائیل رو محکوم میکردن ارتش پاکستان بود.
And Pakistan was also only one country in the Islamic world where after the Corps Commanders meeting, the military of Pakistan, through a joint statement, they were condemning the Israeli aggression and they were defending the Palestinians' rights.
ما طی 47 سال گذشته دنبال ثبات در منطقه بودیم.
Since the 47 years, we have been pursuing and we were making the efforts for stability in the region.
8 سال بر ما تجاوز عراق رو تحریک کردن، به ما کشور ما تجاوز کرد.
We have faced aggression for 8 years against our country.
ولی موقع به عراق حمله کردن تنها کشوری که از عراق حمایت کرد ما بودیم.
But when there was an aggression against Iraq, we were only country in the region which was supporting to the people of Iraq.
موقع عراق به کویت حمله کرد تنها کشوری از کویت حمایت کرد ما بودیم.
When there was aggression by Iraq against Kuwait, we were supporting Iraq and Kuwaiti people and their defense.
در دولت 11 و 12 ما به کشورهای حوزه خلیج فارس طرح صلح هرمز را پیشنهاد کردیم. همین هرمزی که امروز کلید پیروزی جمهوری اسلامی شد در رویارویی با آمریکا و رژیم صهیونیستی.
During our 11th and 12th government, Islamic Republic of Iran has proposed the peace initiative of Hormuz, the same Hormuz, which is the partner of victory to our country against the Israeli and American aggression.
در دولت 13 مرحوم شهید رئیسی ما طرح توسعه روابط با همسایگان رو پیشنهاد کردیم.
And during the 13th government under President Marted Raisi, we proposed a joint policy of promoting relations with the neighboring countries.
راهبرد جمهوری اسلامی برای ثبات در منطقه یعنی کشورهای منطقه توانمون رو روی یکدیگر بگذاریم و غربی هایی که در این منطقه آمدن تا ثروت های ما را تاراج کنن و ما را به جون هم بندازن و بر اساس سیاست قدیمی خودشون که اختلاف بنداز و حکومت کن را جمع کنیم. این همیشه استراتژی جمهوری اسلامی ایران بوده از فردای پیروزی انقلاب اسلامی تا به امروز.
The policy of the Islamic Republic of Iran regarding the regional countries has always been that we should utilize our potential. The regional countries should utilize their potentials, and the Western countries which are actually to want to get our assets. And also they are fighting and they are creating division among us as their old policy. We should actually have the initiative at the regional level. And this policy of the Islamic Republic of Iran has been pursued since the victory of the Islamic Revolution.
تحولات یک سال گذشته هم نشان داد که حضور آمریکا یا هزاران پایگاه نظامی هم که در هر کشوری بزنن برای اون کشورها نه ثبات به عمل میاره نه امنیت به وجود میاره، بلکه اونها خودشون عامل بی‌ثباتی و عامل ناامنی شدن.
And the recent developments, they have proved that the presence of United States and the presence of the dozens of their bases cannot guarantee the stability and the security for the regional countries. Rather, they are instrumental in creating instability and also creating the law and order situation.
لذا ما در جمهوری اسلامی ایران معتقدیم که ما باید کشورهای منطقه و در رأس اون کشورهای بزرگ منطقه پاکستان، ایران، ترکیه، عربستان، مصر یک گروهی تشکیل بدیم، یک ائتلافی تشکیل بدیم نه علیه کسی باشه و بقیه کشورها هم عضو به اون بپیوندن که ما بتوانیم با همکاری، با توسعه روابط اقتصادی، با روابط تجاری، با روابط کریدوری بتوانیم ثبات را به این منطقه ناامن برگردونیم.
So Islamic Republic of Iran believes that the big countries of the region, including Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, they should have a group or alliance not against any country, rather for the protection of the regional security and peace. And they also have the membership of the other small countries, and they get together for the promotion of peace and stability in the region.
این حرف امروز ما نیست.
So this is our position.
این در یک جلساتی بین ما و ترکیه و پاکستان در 5-6 سال پیش مورد بحث بود و همچنان این بحث ادامه داره.
And during our meetings back 5 to 6 years back, all these subjects and the proposals in this regard has been discussed with Pakistan and also with Turkey.
ما مسلمان‌ها باید خودمون بپرسیم چرا هر جنگی رو میخوان که غربی‌ها به وجود تو خاورمیانه اتفاق میفته هزینه‌اش ما میدیم، بعد موقعی که شکست میخورن یا منافعشون تامین میشه میرن در کشورهای غربی تحت عنوان صلح ورسای، نمیدونم بیانیه ژنو، بیانیه لوزان، نمیدونم طرح صلح مادرید. چرا ما اینجوره باید پاسیو باشیم در مقابل این اقدامات جنگ طلبانه غربی ها که منابع ما رو، ثروت های ما رو، جوانان ما رو به کشتن میدن که به منافع نامشروع خودشون برسند.
The Muslims, they should ask to themselves that the Western world, the Western countries, they launch all the wars in their regions, particularly in the region of Middle East, and when they are defeated or their interests are protected. So when they want to establish and reach to some peace agreement, they name it as the Peace Agreement of Warsaw or Lausanne Agreement or the Geneva Pact or the Madrid Pact. We Muslims, why we are facing all this situation where our assets, they are also being tortured and also they are getting away, and also they are murdering our young youth.
با ابتکار دولت پاکستان برای اولین بار این جنگ اگر پایان بپذیره تحت عنوان بیانیه اسلام آباد و این تغییر پارادایمی است که ما دنبالش بودیم و الحمدلله شروع شد و امیدواریم که در آینده روز به روز انشالله که جنگ دیگه منطقه ما نیاد، ولی ما خودمون بیانیه های گوناگون برای همکاری و توسعه روابطمون رو از این بعد به نام خودمون صادر کنیم و اجازه ندیم برای ما در لوزان و ژنو و پاریس و فلانجا تصمیم گیری بشود.
By the initiative of the government of Pakistan, the first time, if this war ended, the first time the pact has named by the name of Islamabad Agreement, and this shows a shift, a paradigm shift in approach, and it has started now. And after that, first of all, there should not be no any aggression in the region, and there should be no any war, further war in the region. But if anything happens, we should change the approach and also the names of the statements, and we should move forward for the promotion of ties among them, and we should not allow that they name these statements and these pacts by their names, by Lausanne Pact or the Geneva Pact or the Paris Pact.
بر اساس اون در سفر آقای دکتر قالیباف و معاون اول رئیس جمهور آمریکا در اسلام آباد و در هتل سرینا منعقد شد.
And the first basic step was taken in this regard during the visit of His Excellency Dr. Qalibov, the Vice President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and also the Vice President of United States to Islamabad.
اما برای ادامه کشوندنش توی سوئیس.
But they continued these discussions at Switzerland.
من سوال کردم آقا برای چی نیان اسلام آباد؟ گفتن آمریکا گفتن راه دوره، خیلی دوره.
I asked why they are not continuing these negotiations in Islamabad, and it was replied to me, Americans are saying that they have a long distance to Islamabad.
گفتم اونا پاسخ بدن موقعی که برای جنگ اومدید همه ناوی همه جنگنده آوردید تو منطقه، اون موقع راه دور نبود، برای آدم کشی راه نزدیک بود، برای صلح راهتون دور شد.
And I said that when they were bringing their naval fleet and all the war machines in the region, that was not a long distance. And when we are going to have the peace discussions, no, the ways and distance is long one.
موضوع بعدی بازدارندگی است که سوال اینه که این بازدارندگی چگونه میتونیم در مقابل دشمن بایستیم؟
The next subject is about the deterrence and how we can have the deterrence against the enemy.
ما در جهان اسلام دنبال این که یک جبهه درست کنیم به اسم جبهه مقابل که با اون بجنگیم نیستیم، اما چون اونها به منافع ما توجه دارن، اونها هستن که نمیخواهن مسلمان ها بر اساس اعتقاد و برنامه خودشون زندگیشون رو داشته باشن، ناچاریم در خودمون توانمندی ایجاد کنیم که اونها رو برای همیشه مایوس کنیم که میتوانند مثل گذشته بر جهان اسلام تسلط داشته باشن، هر وقت دلشون خواست جنگ ایجاد کنن، هر وقت دلشون خواست صلح ایجاد کنن، هر وقت دلشون خواست منابع ما رو غارت کنن. این رو باید برای همیشه پایان بدیم.
Actually, in the Islamic world, we do not want to have a front against them, but because they always think about their own trust only, and they do not allow the Muslims. They act against according to their beliefs, and they have life according to their beliefs. But we should have to create some potentials in ourselves that we can create a deterrence where they do not have the courage to impose more wars against us and endanger our peace and security.
اون چیزی که من میتوانم به شما تحت عنوانی که چگونه ایران با بازدارندگیش توانست دو قدرت هسته‌ای رو که یکی از اونها که آمریکا باشه به طور طبیعی بزرگترین و قویترین قدرت نظامی جهان است رو مایوس کنه و به التماس بیافتن برای مذاکره و حل فصل مسالمت آمیز، من در چند عامل میدونم که به اونها اشاره میکنم.
And whatever in regarding the deterrence, where the two nuclear powers, one of them United States, which is the biggest military and the most powerful military power of the world, and how they were not able to overpower us, and they have to request for the negotiations and for the peaceful settlement. I would like to explain in this regard.
در جمع شما استراتژیستا به ویژه اساتید بزرگوار آقای سلیم جوهر، آقای دورانی هستیم. در تدوین استراتژی هر کشوری عوامل قدرت را احسان میکنن. یکی از عوامل کلیدیش رهبری اون کشور هست.
I have the presence of the big strategist here, His Excellency Ambassador Salim Johar, and also His Excellency Ambassador Durrani. You know that when we are going to make a strategy and the strategy for the deterrence, every country assess its power in this regard.
اولین اصل بازدارندگی ما بهره‌مند شدن از دو تا رهبر بودیم طی 47 سال گذشته، یکی امام خمینی و دو امام خامنه ای که به دست جنایتکاران اخیراً به شهادت رسید. این کلید اصلی بازدارندگی جمهوری اسلامی در مقابل دشمنانش بود.
First of all, we have enjoyed the leadership. First, leadership of Hazrat Imam Khomeini, Rizwanullah alayhi, and then the leadership of Imam Khamenei, who was cowardly martyred by the enemies. They have played a basic role in the deterrence and against our enemy.
من طی 25 تا 30 سال گذشته با راهنمودهای ایشان، با دستورهای ایشان برای استراتژی کشور نزدیک آشنا بودم، میخوندم، به ما میرسید، ما دنبال اجراش میرفتیم. سوگند یاد میکنم ایشون یک سر سوزنی هیچگاه از قدرت غرب نترسید.
As I have been actually personally watching since 25 to 30 years back, all the strategic programs which has been framed by our martyred leader, and I have been also studying on these strategies. I can swear that he had never afraid of the Western power ever.
همه سخنرانی ها ایشونو بگیرید گوش کنید، همیشه تکیش بر مردم ایران بود. اگر مردم در صحنه باشید آمریکا هیچ غلطی نمیکنه، اگر مردم با هم باشید اسرائیل هیچ غلطی نمیکنه، اگر مردم با هم باشید غرب هیچ غلطی نمیکنه.
And if you listen to all the speeches which has been delivered by our supreme leader, you will see that his main focus was on the power of the people. And he always said, if we have the dependence and we have the power of the people, no country, even the United States and Israel, can do anything wrong against us.
این رهبری باعث شد که در ایران یک انسجامی وجود داد که بهش اشاره میکنم و در منطقه گروههایی به وجود بیان مثل حزب الله لبنان، مثل انصارالله در یمن، مثل هشت شبی در عراق، مثل حماس و جهاد اسلامی در فلسطین، که با این رهبری پیمان اخوت ببندن و اونها بودن که در واقع در خط مقدم رژیم اسرائیل و آمریکا را خسته و منکوب کردند که موقعی به ایران رسید دیگه نتوانست و ناچار شد پرچم رو بالا ببره.
And this leadership, they have created a coherence in our people, and also later I will refer to the various groups, the resistance groups like Hezbollah and also Ansarullah in Yemen, and also Hashd al-Shabi in Iraq, and also Hamas and Jihad Islami of Palestine. They have actually entered a brotherhood pact with the supreme leader, and they first of all have the struggle against the United States and Israel. And when there was a struggle, they have launched an aggression against Islamic Republic of Iran. They were not able to defeat Islamic Republic of
و در داخل ایران هم بر روی انسجام مردم در داخل تکیه کرد که گاگای غربی ها از یک دو نفر که یه جای اعتراض میکردن خیلی بزرگش میکردن، ریسمانش میکردن که مردم از نظام ایران بریدند، ولی مردم ما در این جنگ نشان دادن و فردا و 3-4 روز آینده شما در تشییع جنازه ایشون در تهران و در قم و در عراق و در مشهد خواهید دید که هیچ نظامی در روی کره زمین به این انسجام دولت و حاکمیت جز جمهوری اسلامی ایران وجود نداره. البته آرزو میکنیم این شامل حال همه کشورهای مسلمان بشه.
And in the internal level, there has been a very good harmony and coordination among the people. And in the Western world, even there was a protest of the two persons in our country. They were highlighting and showcasing it, resentment of the people, our people. But during the war, it has been proved that how there was a close solidarity and harmony in our people. And during the next 2 or 3 days, you will witness the unity and harmony of our people with their leadership during the funeral ceremonies in Tehran, Qum, Iraq, Mashhad. And no government system in the world has enjoyed such harmony which our country has enjoyed with the people. And I wish that all the countries, they should have such unity with the people.
پس مردم هم دومین عامل در استراتژی هر کشوری هستند که بهش اشاره کردم.
So the people, they are the second element in the deterrence of every country.
و مسئله بعدی، یه حاکم در هر کشوری باید بفهمه در اون سرزمین از چه ظرفیت‌های مادی، معنوی، ژئوپلیتیکی برخورداره. رهبر ما یک آدم نظامی نبود، اما در طراحی‌های استراتژیک خودش، راهبردهای خودش، توجه به عامل جغرافیایی ایران که بس سرشار از موانع هست برای تجاوز هر کشوری به ایران، به دقت استفاده میکرد و راهبرد خودش رو بر اساس اون تعیین میکرد.
And next subject is that any ruler of any country should assess the material assets and also the spiritual assets and geopolitical of that country. Our leader was not a military strategist, but he has made a strategy and a strategy in a way that he was focusing on the element of the geography and also all the irritants which can be utilized against any aggression against Islamic Republic of Iran.
ایران کشور بسیار قدرتمندی است. از لحاظ جغرافیایی کشور بسیار بزرگی است. یک قاره است. کشورهای کوچک عربی میگن ایران یک قاره است.
Iran is a very powerful country, and if you see its geography, it's like a continent. The Arab countries say Iran is not a country, but it's a continent.
رشته‌کوه البرز و زاکروس خودشون یک سپر دفاعی برای ایران هستند.
And the mountains of Zabul and Zakhras, they are also an element of deterrence and defense for Iran.
دسترسی به دریا در جنوب و شمال ایران یک عامل مهم جغرافیایی است.
And access of Islamic Republic of Iran in its south and also in its north is also another element of deterrence.
آمریکا در سالهای اول انقلاب میخواست گروگاناش از ایران آزاد کنه، در طبس اون بلا سرش اومد.
When Americans want to free their hostages, they launched an operation in Tabas.
این عامل جغرافیا بود. این آخر میخواست دوباره بیاد به اصطلاح خودش غنیسازی ما، اورانیوم غنیسازی شده ما رو به رو باید در اصفهان دچار اون حادثه شد.
And once again in Tabas there was the element of geography, and once again the Americans wanted to get our enriched uranium, and they actually faced the same geographical problems in Isfahan.
یکی از عوامل این تنگه هرمز بود.
And one of the elements that was the Straits of Hormuz.
و ایران ازش استفاده کرد، گلوی آمریکا رو اونچنان فشار داد که نزدیک بود خفه شده، متوسل شد به آسم منیر، گفت تو رو خدا من نجات بده از دست ایران.
And Iran utilized it in amicable way, and it strangulated United States in a way that there was no way to United States but to request to His Excellency Asim Munir to actually salvage them.
و توان دفاعی.
And lastly, the defense potential.
دنیا هواپیماهای نمیدونم آواکس داره، نمیدونم هواپیماهای F-35 داره، نمیدونم انواع و اقسام جنگنده های مدرن داره. خیلی ها به ایران، به رهبر ما پیشنهاد کردن بریم جنگنده بخریم، بریم موشک از خارج بخریم. گفت سلاح خودتون باید بسازید. سلاحی که به تو بفروشه روز جنگ اجازه استفاده به تو نخواهد داد. و دیدیم در جای دیگه، کشورهای دیگه، که آمریکا سلاحش فروخته ولی در موقع جنگ اجازه استفاده بهش نمیده. بقیه کشورها هم، روسیه هم همین باشه، چین هم همین باشه، در روز مبادا اگر منافعش اجازه نده به تو اجازه استفاده از اون سلاح رو نمیده.
The world have various types of fighters. They have also, for instance, aeroplanes, AWACS, F-35 fighters, and various types of fighters. And the proposal was given to Islamic Republic of Iran, purchase some modern fighters and also import some missiles from the other countries. But if you import the weapons from the other countries, when there is a need in the time of war, they do not allow you to utilize them.
ما
This is the
موشک
case with
سازیمون رو
the
از
United
تا
States.
موشک از لیبی در زمان جنگ تحمیلی 40 سال پیش گرفتیم، شروع کردیم و به این توان موشکی رسیدیم که توانست F-35 رو زمینگیر کنه، F-18 رو زمینگیر کنه، موشک‌های دوربرد زمینگیر کنه، آواکس‌ها رو زمینگیر کنه، هواپیماهای نمیدونم سوخرسان و همه رو زمینگیر کنه و ایران رو سرافراز بیرون آورد.
And this is the same case with China and Russia. They will not allow you to utilize these weapons when you are need in the time of war. And that was our indigenous capability, which we have produced since many years back. And this capability that was utilized against the F-35s, F-15s, and also against all types of the missiles. And we have been able to defeat our enemies by utilizing our indigenous capability of our missiles.
آمریکا چند بار گفت موشک‌های ایران تمام شد، موشک‌هاش از بین بردم، نیرو هواییش تمام شد، نیرو دریاییش هوا شد. اگر تمام شد پس چرا نتونید تنگه هرمز باز کنی؟ تو که گفتی تمام شد، چرا نشد؟
Time and again, it was claimed by United States that Iranian missiles has been finished, their stockpile has been finished, and we have destroyed their air force, we have destroyed their naval forces. If that is the case, why United States are begging for the negotiation?
خیلی به خودم هم میگفتن موشک‌های شما بالاخره پایان میپذیره، شما نمیتونید ادامه بدید. من گفتم آقا موشک ما مثل کارخانه ماکارونی سازی هیچ وقت تعطیل نمیشه. ما مثل ماکارونی داریم موشک تولید میکنیم، هیچ وقت موشک ما پایان نمیپذیره.
And also some quotators said to us that your stockpile of the missiles will be finished. I replied to them that we are indigenously producing these missiles, and that's just like as we have the factory of production of macaroni, so we will produce it as our requirement and need.
و در رأس همه اینا اراده است. اگر اراده باشد تو میتونی پیروز بشی. اراده نداشته باشی، همه تسلیحات دنیا رو داشته باشی، شما شکست میخوری.
But the foremost thing is the resolve. If you have the resolve to fight, you can overcome against your enemy. But if you do not have the resolve, you have the modern and the latest weapons of the world, you cannot win against your enemies.
سه خلبان ما با هواپیمای F4 مال عهد بوقه یه طراحی کردن یه پایگاه آمریکا رو در کویت بزنن، یه جوری با اراده و جوری با تکنیک رفتن که کویت 3 تا F-15 آمریکا رو ساقط کرد. هواپیمای ما سالم برگشتن، هر سه خلبان گفت رفتیم که دیگه بر نگردیم، ولی برگشتن 3 تا F-15 آمریکا هم ساقط شد.
Our 3 pilots with the F-4 fighters, which we have bought in the previous years, they made a plan to target an American base in Kuwait. And they made a plan in a way that the Kuwaiti Air Defense targeted the American aeroplanes, and all these our fighters, they returned back, although they were not expecting that they will be able to return back.
ما رو از F-35 میترسوندن، رادار گریزه.
They were also threatening us with the F-35 because it cannot be traced through radar.
تبلیغ میکردن ایران هیچ پدافند نداره، ایران لخت همش تنها کشوری که الان F-35 ساقط کرد ایران بود.
And also they were utilizing F-35, and they were saying that Iranian defense system do not exist, and all the skies of the Iran are open, but Iran is the only country in the world which has shut down F-35.
پس جمع‌بندی میکنم، اگر کسی میخواد بازدارندگی ایجاد کنه، یک رهبر خردمند و مقاوم و نترس.
But if I conclude my discussion, if anyone to have the deterrence, first requirement is the voice and courageous leadership,
ایجاد پیوند عمیق مردم به حاکمیت،
and creation of a deep bond between the government and the people,
برقراری رابطه متوازن با همسایگان و قانع کردن اونا که من تهدید تو نیستم.
and establishment of a balanced relation with the countries and to convince them that I am not threat to you,
و استفاده از همه عوامل قدرت.
and utilization of all the power elements.
آمریکا چند بار اعلام کرد که ایران، اول گفتن ایران هیچی نداره، ایران یه مخروبه است، ولی موقع تاسیسات ما را زدن گفتن ای فلان تاسیسات بزرگ ایران رو زدیم. موقع پل ما را زدن گفتن این قوی ترین و مدرن ترین پلی بود در خاورمیانه ساخته شد. موقع تاسیسات شیمیایی ما را زدن گفتن مهمترین تاسیسات ایران رو زدیم. اگر شما گفتید ایران هیچی نداره، پس چی شد هی می‌زدید تعریف از دستاوردهای خودتون می‌کردید؟ این چی بود؟
First of all, they were claiming that there is no development in Iran and Iran is a ruined country after the sanctions. But when they were targeting our facilities, they were targeting our bridges. They were saying that we have targeted one of the big bridge of the Middle East. And when they were targeting our petrochemical facilities, they were claiming that we have targeted a huge chemical factory. So how you see the contradiction in their claims?
ما این پیروزی رو به همه جهان اسلام تقدیم میکنیم، به شهدای فلسطین تقدیم میکنیم، به شهدای لبنان تقدیم میکنیم، به شهدای یمن و عراق تقدیم میکنیم.
And we present our this victory to all the Islamic world, to the martyrs of Palestine, Lebanon, and other areas.
و در این پیروزی پاکستان، دولت پاکستان، ملت پاکستان شریک واقعی و اول شریک ما هست.
And in this victory, the government and the people of Pakistan, they are our partners and the real partners in this victory.
و به این شراکت راهبردی هم افتخار میکنیم.
And we are proud of this partnership, which is strategic one.
از همه شما که به عرایض بنده گوش دادید هم صمیمانه تشکر میکنیم.
I extend my gratitude to all of you for listening my words.
مجددا از آقای سلیم جوهر و مؤسسه محترم آیاراسای و همه همکارانشون که این جلسه بسیار ارزشمند رو برگزار کردن صمیمانه تشکر میکنم.
Once again, I thank Ambassador Salim Johar and the esteemed Institute of IRS and all the colleagues in IRS for this valuable gathering.
خیلی متشکرم.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for those comprehensive and insightful remarks. We surely appreciate your valuable perspectives and your contribution to today's dialogue. You have given us much to reflect on, and I'm sure much to discuss. Ladies and gentlemen, today's dialogue has reaffirmed something important. Pakistan's role as a regional peacemaker is not aspirational, it is active and it is consequential. Before we formally close, it is my great privilege to invite President IRS Ambassador Johar Salim to the podium for his closing remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. What a brilliant discourse. Excellency Ambassador Amir Reza Muqaddam's very wise words, very insightful address. And before that, all our other speakers, Ambassador Durrani, the very detailed analysis that he presented, and the suggestions, I've read those suggestions carefully. I think they provide a good way forward. Friends and colleagues from Iran, the great perspective from your side, madam, and of course from the media side. In today's world, the importance of media cannot be overstated. So together, it has provided an excellent insight. And I could see how, we have all these intellectuals here, thinkers here, researchers here, how much they imbibed today's discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, in Martin Luther's immortal words, I have a dream. I have a dream of a peaceful world where countries cooperate rather than conflict, where countries interact with each other as per a rules-based order, as per the tenets of international law. An international order, the United Nations becomes the true embodiment of what it was meant to be, a federation of the world. An international dispensation where cooperation should be the order of the day, and wherever any divergent perspectives, perceptions, or issues arise, they should be resolved through dialogue and discussion. I dream of a day when our region, and this region, South Asia, West Asia, East Asia, tremendous potential. This is the driver of the world's economic growth in a world which is facing shrinking population everywhere. You have some of the youngest populations here, world's most precious natural resources, some of the greatest minds. And all that could only translate into a collective productivity for the globe, into a collective peace for everyone, when peace is given a chance. And in today's discussion, and before that, we had my dear friend, my brother, Ambassador Muqaddam, and I, we had as always, we had a very interesting conversation. I see a great deal of positivity. I witnessed a great deal of constructiveness, a very constructive approach that augurs really well for this peace process. The roadmap is there. The willingness is there. And I believe, regardless of how analysts see it, whether this MOU is favorable to Iran or the US, in fact, I don't really see it that way. I see it as favorable to both the countries. I see that a victory for both would be a victory for peace. And the dividends that that would bring would be immense. Just look at what it could do for, if only we talk about the bilateral cooperation between Pakistan and Iran. Inshallah, once a grand bargain is completed, we could have the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline back in action. And that could be a game changer. Our trade, our mutual trade, could very easily be $10 billion or even more than that. With our 900 kilometer long borders, can you imagine the possibilities of trade through land? Can you imagine the flow of tourism? The flow of people-to-people contacts, and the flow of ideas and cultures, which has been the norms for hundreds of years. And inshallah, in a post-conflict scenario where there's harmony and peace amongst Iran and the brotherly countries in the Gulf, that could bring about benefits not just for Iran and the Gulf countries, but for the world at large. These regions, East Asia, South Asia, West Asia, they constitute half of the world's population. And the potential for connectivity is just, it's hard to bind it in words. Look at what the European Union did for Europe. Europe used to, they passed hundreds of years of perennial conflict until that changed into cooperation. And that cooperation in the shape of European Union, the synergy it created, it transformed the lives of hundreds of millions of people there. It made them the richest in the world. It made Europe the envy of the world. And I believe that in the same manner, if we could institute durable peace, if we could translate the vast potential for cooperation into active linkages, into vibrant partnerships, into win-win situations, the future of half of the world population living here would be brighter than ever. And it would also rub off to the other half of the world. So with these words, let's hope and pray, inshallah, that this process reaches to a very positive conclusion. It brings about durable peace and opens up all those clogged arteries of promise and potential which have been embroiled by the unfortunate conflicts that our regions have witnessed in the past. I would like to thank all our speakers today. Our keynote speaker, of course, Ambassador Muqaddam, for sharing his sagacity and wisdom and the insight that Ambassador Durrani brought, and our very dear friends from Iran. And I'd like to thank you all for being part of this deliberation today. And now I'd like to invite you all to join me in a big hand of applause for our speakers today. I thank you all.
Thank you, Ambassador Salim, for aptly concluding today's discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the presentation of souvenirs. I invite Ambassador Johar Salim to please come forward to present the commemorative shields to our distinguished guests, followed by His Excellency, Dr. Raza Amiri Muqaddam. Your Excellency, please come forward. Next, Ambassador Asif Ali Khan Durrani. Ambassador, please come forward. Next, Miss Zuhre Shabik. Ma'am, please come forward. Last but not least, Mr. Abu Bakr Yunus Matar. Please come forward. We now invite all our distinguished speakers to join Ambassador Johar Salim for a group photograph. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our formal program. We invite you to please join us for refreshments, where we hope the conversation from morning will continue. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.